Dunkin, Eric Allen here with Eric Coleman inside the BetMGM studio. We're joined by Anthony Becht as well. In just a few moments, you are going to hear from Jets head coach Robert Saleh after his first draft as head coach of the New York Jets. It is over, fellas. 3 days, 10 picks. What's interesting about the 10 picks, Eric, is the Jets started this draft with 10 picks, but Joe Douglas made three trades along the way, still finished up with the 10 picks. Offensive flavor early, defensive flavor late.
Yeah, I mean, it was great to see, after they drafted Zach Wilson, to get him some support. You know, they got the offensive lineman, Vera to protect him. Then they bring in the Elijah Moore, the weapons, for him to have someone to throw the ball to, along with the many free agents and players that we have here today. But then Michael Carter gets added into the flavor, and then it goes straight defense, and then straight speed on defense. That's what I love. That's what excited me about today. A lot of speed, a lot of aggression on that side of the ball.
Yeah, Anthony, what did you think about the way today all shook up? Because the Jets very happy that Michael Carter was there at the top of day 3. And then after that, we see a lot of defensive backs in the mix, namely 3 cornerbacks for the Jets.
Yeah, when I look at the picks, at least defensively, I feel like, or at least listening to what Joe Douglas had to say, is all these guys were rated a lot higher than where they got drafted. So they fell into wherever they were on the board, into an area where the Jets were like, we have to get these players. And that's great because, anytime you get guys that you think are a lot better than where they get drafted, that's only better for the team as far as depth and even potential starters. I mean, we look at some of these draft picks in the later rounds. These guys could potentially be starters day 1, which would be huge for this football team. So, Coleman said it right. I mean, you got speed, these corners, slot guys, 4.3 speed with Sherwood and Nasruddin, aggressive, strong, big-time hitters. You're talking about, heavy-hitting, downhill dudes that tackle running backs, that destroy receivers. And I think that's the kind of the MO right now this defense is kind of putting the stamp on. Robert Saleh wants to have these guys flying around sideline to sideline and making plays behind the backfield all the way down to the last guy, Jonathan Marshall from Arkansas, the D tackle, who is probably the biggest disruptor in college football at his position, and you get him in the 7th round. So a lot of buzz, excitement from the coaching staff, and of course Joe Douglas on where he got these players, especially this last day of the draft.
So I think Michael Carter was overshadowed by his teammate Javonte Williams there at North Carolina. But Carter, think about this, 33 missed tackles in 2020. That led everybody in college football. He also rushed for 1,245 yards, 8 yards per carry. This guy, they'll say that he doesn't have the straight ahead speed as far as he's not a sub 4.4 guy, but he was always a threat to take it to the house, and he is a sturdy blocker, and he also can catch it out of the backfield.
Yeah, I mean, listen, he's one of those guys, when he's running the football, he runs behind his pads. He's shifty, he can move, and he may not be 4.3, but when he gets the ball in his hands and when he makes that first cut, he's at his top speed. And he's going to create a lot of big plays for this offense. He has great vision, tremendous athleticism, great balance, and really is going to make a lot of guys miss in these tackles in the open field. This is a versatile back. He should have been drafted earlier, but thankfully he fell to the New York Jets.
Another thing too, a couple things I like about this kid is, you're right. The splitting of the carries and the numbers that he put up were really exceptional. There's a lot of tread left on this kid's tires, which is great. He is an extremely smart back. If you watch him in pass protections, he understands it very well as far as finding the guy, picking up the blitzers. That's going to be key. We see a lot of young running backs come in the league that are a little bit clueless on that side. This kid will come in and be able to step in. He's an inside and an outside runner, which is great because now if you're running the outside zone or you want to do some other things, he's a back that could come in and shine really at any of those kind of runs. Another thing that I found statistically that was really good, he has the most 20-plus yard runs over the last 2 seasons in any running back in college football, 29 of them. So bam, right there, home run effect. That's pretty good when you're talking about a guy making big splashes. How many plays did we see from running backs over the last 5 years go over 20 yards in the running game. So that's exciting to see as well. And I heard, just talking to some of the coaches that I know at North Carolina, two things that really stood out to me that they said: excellent work ethic, number one, and tremendous leadership. Those are qualities, again, rookie player coming in, he's going to be able to embody, embrace the offense, be able to run it right now, but yet still be a guy that can lead and help as a young player, because that's what you're going to need when you're creating competition throughout training camp.
And that big picture, this is another offensive weapon that you're surrounding your young quarterback with. The Jets enter the draft and they fortify that offensive line with Vera Tucker. Then they give him Elijah Moore, one of the NCAA's top receivers last year in the nation's top conference. And then you come back in the fourth round and you get Michael Carter. And the other thing about these guys that I like is sometimes you take flyers on players that have tremendous skill sets, but the production wasn't there. The production was there with these guys who were coming in and joining the Jets offense.
Yeah, I mean, that's what's great about it is not only do you have the numbers, you have the speed, the 4.3 speed with Elijah Moore, all the athleticism around the perimeter.
Oh, did we lose you for a second? Eric Coleman, we might have just lost you for a second, but I agree with you there. I'm going to stick with you there, is that, listen, Michael Carter is a guy who joins the Jets backfield right now. Tevin Coleman in there, former San Francisco 49er and Atlanta Falcon who played under Mike LaFleur at both of those stops as well. Ty Johnson was on this roster last year, a sub 4.4 guy. You have LaMichael Pirine, a draft pick of Joe Douglas a year ago as well, and Josh Adams. So you have numbers in the backfield, but here's a guy who's done it all over the place at North Carolina, sharing the load with Javonte Williams. Jets come back in the fifth round, Anthony, and take Jamian Sherwood, a player who was a safety at Auburn, but he really played all over the place. But for the Jets, he probably is going to be an outside linebacker. What do you think about the transition? And also, what did you think about the film you saw in Sherwood?
Lights out, man. Lights out hitter. I mean, he really does knock dudes out. He finds the ball and he attacks. And I think that's the biggest thing that I noticed in his highlight tape is just that's what he is all about. He wants to be the number one top tackler. He wants to be around the football. He wants to disrupt you. He wants to cover a tight end. And he wants to hit the backs and tight ends as well when they have the ball in their hand. He's played upwards to 230 pounds as a player at Auburn. And outside a big hitter and massive tackler, 34-inch arms. And you're probably thinking, well, what does that mean? Well, they're the longest arms recorded for a DB in the last 15 years that the draft's been going on. So, again, he covers up a lot of space. And when you're talking about potentially matching up against tight ends in the passing game and going up and knocking balls down, he's going to be able to reach up and do those things.
Do you see similarities in that pick, the Jamian Sherwood pick, as Hamza Nazaruddin from Florida State? Because he played in the box, was a box safety with Florida State. Now he's going to come here under Robert Saleh, Jeff Ulbrich, and he's going to make the transition to outside linebacker. A lot of people think this is probably a kid, third-round value who you're getting, but he's coming off a knee injury.
Absolutely. I mean, you have with Nazaruddin, you have an athletic safety, linebacker now that is 6'3", 6'4". He lowers the boom when he comes to tackle. He's very aggressive. And what I like most about this kid is he's a great leader in this locker room. He's a guy that has been through a lot of adversity at Florida State, has kept that defense, kept that locker room intact. He came back from an ACL injury towards the end of his career. He didn't need to come back, but that just showed how much this kid loves football. He just plays a physical brand of football, and he just adds a dimension of speed to this defense that's going to take him to the next level.
Anthony, did we find out something about the defense that maybe is new to Jets fans? Meaning, how does this staff look at the linebacker position? We found out quite a bit, I think, here on day 3, because you mentioned the length of Sherwood. When you think about linebackers right now and what these guys are looking for, do you think you're looking at length and you're looking at speed?
Yeah, they're hybrid bodies, right? I mean, these are guys that are extremely long. They have the reach, the arm length. They have the speed, but yet they tackle like a basic a linebacker should tackle. There's no fear at that position. They're going to be chasing guys around, and they're not going to be scared to drop back in coverage. And of course, they're definitely not going to be, hesitant to come up and make the big plays behind the backfield. So again, I'm looking for a much faster defense for this Jets football team heading into training camp into the season. I think that's fun to watch. I mean, sideline to sideline, you can chase down any player. And you think about the teams in our division, the kind of weapons that they have, you're going to need a lot of speed and coverage and also chasing guys down to make those tackles. So listen, not only do you draft to make your team better, but you really draft to win your division, right? That's the big thing. And when you match guys up, you have to think about those things, and that's the route that they're going.
Quickly, E, what do you think about the cornerbacks? Michael Carter out of Duke, so that's 2 Michael Carters here for the Jets. Jason Pinnock from Pittsburgh. He had 3 interceptions last season. Good ball skills, 6 interceptions throughout his career. And then Brandon Eccles, who played at Kentucky, junior college transfer. Interesting physical skill set traits.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at Michael Carter, he has a lot of versatility. He can play the nickel. He can play some safety. Just a great all-around athlete with an awesome nose for the ball.
And he's a sub-4.4 guy,
and he jumps out of the gym. He has all the athleticism you can ask for. In talking about Pinnock, this is a guy who played a lot of man-to-man coverage at Pitt. He's a lockdown corner. He shadows the best receiver on the field, so he's going to add a dimension to this secondary that's going to help in man-to-man coverage. We all know in this defense there's a lot of man free, so those cornerbacks are going to be left on an island. You're going to need guys like Carter, Pinnock, and also
No, you're good here. Yeah, because all the names, the Jets got 10 picks here. Brandon Eccles.
And Eccles, look, he's as quick as a hiccup. He can play that nickel. He can move around. He can get rid of blockers. Great defender. This is going to be a very versatile defense. They're going to be interchangeable, and it's going to add a lot of dimensions.
Anthony, what do you think about this transition the Jets are making on the back end? I know people have focused on the 4-3, and the Jets – you guys know this better than anybody. They haven't been running a 4-3 since the really early stages of Herm Edwards' run, his 5-year run before he switched to a 3-4. We're talking about 20 years, fellas. But in the back end, under Saleh and Ulbrich, one thing that stood out to me, Saleh said it, what I'm looking for in my cornerbacks is they have to be able to play man, because I think a lot of people with this system, fellas, they're always saying cover 3, cover 2. Well, the Jets are going to mix it up, right?
Well, yeah, you have to. You can't just go out there and run simple coverages. You have to be able to roll to coverages. You have to be able to disguise. Listen, I think the biggest thing is if you're a Jets fan and you're watching games in the past, you want DBs that can contest footballs, right? Contest receivers, get physical at the line of scrimmage, and also be in the right spot and make the coverage play. And more in particular, zone. How many games have we seen over the last couple of years where receivers are finding holes in zones and nobody's home or no one's there to make the play? So again, I get the sense that this scheme and this defense is not going to be very elaborate as far as they're going to teach technique. They're going to teach the details of what needs to be taught so they can be really good at each position and everybody is crystal clear on their job so that 11 guys can go out and do it. So creating competition is huge. You get a ton of DBs. One thing that I love about some of these defensive backs, the Pinnock kid, since 2019 as an outside corner was one of the best. He's actually the second best in the country at 37% completion percentage. You got to love that, because if he's not getting picks, he's stopping the offensive player from getting the football, and he's knocking the ball down as well. And for a 5'10 cornerback in Eccles, you're thinking, well, he's not that tall. He's got a 42.5-inch vertical jump. So whatever he makes up or doesn't make up in his size, he's going to jump out the cage, out the building, and knock balls out of the air. So you see the athleticism across the board, and we haven't even gotten to the 7th-round pick, who may be the most athletic pound-for-pound guy that the Jets had drafted in this draft.
Jonathan Marshall's a freak. There's no doubt about that. You're talking about a guy who, at his pro day, 36 reps on the bench press, and his 40 time was 4.77. That is absolutely ridiculous. Now, you can never have enough quality defensive linemen, and obviously he's coming in here as a late draft pick, and the Jets have a lot of depth along that defensive line. But earlier in the draft, they added to the offensive line in a big way with Vera Tucker. What do you think about the move Douglas made there, setting the tone? Because a lot of people had speculated for months that Zach Wilson was going to be the guy number 2 overall. And we're going to talk about Zach Wilson a little bit more here. But after drafting Mekhi Becton in 2020 with his first overall pick, he comes back this year and moves up for Vera Tucker.
I love the move. You know, when you move up to go get Vera Tucker, you're establishing your offensive line, you're solidifying it. You have a guy that's nasty, who plays with a mean streak, who's going to be here for a very long time. Vera Tucker is versatile. He's played tackle. He's played inside at guard. He's a guy who's tough. He's going to add, you know, with Mekhi Becton and the rest of this offensive line, these guys are going to be the tone setters. They're going to protect the quarterback, establish the run game, which simplifies everything for Zach Wilson, and just really a great situation for the Jets to be in.
Do you like how aggressive Douglas was in getting Tucker, Anthony? Because he didn't sit back and wait at 23. And maybe if the Jets sat at 23, they still get an Elijah Moore because they thought he was a first-round talent. But I kind of think that Douglas set the tone. 3 trades on draft weekend, but he at the Capitol, and he said, I'm going to go up and get this guy and potentially put him right next to my other big guy, Mekhi Becton.
Yeah, I'd say 75% of the teams in the NFL had Vera Tucker as a top 10 pick. So once he came into that area because of receivers and quarterbacks and all the hoopla that was going on in the first, 12, 13 picks, you start to have a chart that tells you, okay, we got to get aggressive and we got to go get this guy because he is a steal at 14. And a lot of people are like, okay, well, we're giving up a lot of assets. But again, if you got a guy that can play somewhere for 10 plus seasons, all right, and you never have to worry about that position again, and like you said, put him next to Becton, that's a superior left side of an offensive line, not just in the Jets' history, but could be here, starting day one in the league this year. So I think it's great. And I'll say this again, I said it the other day. Normally linemen that have great feet aren't as aggressive or they're not the tough guy. He's got great feet and can do both. So you really get one or the other. That's kind of how it usually falls. This guy gives you a little bit of athleticism and the physicality. You heard him in the interview yesterday talking about putting guys in the dirt. I mean, I love hearing that kind of stuff because it talks about the intangibles of what this kid's makeup is, and you want guys like that on your football team.
Now let's take a look at some of Vera Tucker's first moments as a New York Jet.
Hey, BT. What's up, man? Joe Douglas with the Jets. How you doing?
Good. How about yourself?
Good, man. Fired up, man.
Yeah.
We traded up for you. We're on the clock now. We're gonna turn your name in.
Yeah.
You ready to be a New York Jet?
Let's get active.
Let's go, man.
Yes,
Let's get after it.
Yes, sir.
All right, man. We're gonna be strong up front. Elijah, you got me?
Yes, sir. What up, Coach?
Congratulations, man.
Thank you.
You're going to be awesome. You're going to be a great part of this offensive line that we're building. It's this offense that we're building is going to be freaking special. And,
I'm going to come in and work.
Joe and our entire offensive staff have been excited about you since the day we freaking started watching this tape, man. So no pressure. Come out here, be you, dominate, play nasty like you did all throughout your college career, brother.
I can tell you got a happy group of people right here. Can you hear them in the background? Everybody clapping?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
We're so happy to have you. A-plus person, A-plus player.
Welcome back to the Jets Overtime Special delivered by Dunkin. Thursday night, the Jets had the 23rd pick. They trade up 9 spots to number 14, and they select USC offensive lineman Vera Tucker. EC, what do you like about him so much?
Well, I love that he has a mean streak about him. He finishes blocks and has great technique and versatility. I'll show you in a couple of clips just a little bit about Elijah. This first play, as we know, he's versatile. He can play tackle. He can play guard. On this first play, he's over here at right guard. This is a run play. Run it to the right. Watch his footwork. He has great footwork, hand placement. Moves the defender right out of the hole. Running back hits the lane right off his butt. Great job by the young right guard at that play. Now on this second play, he shows he can handle the speed rush. You know, a lot of times in the NFL, there's some speed rush guys, there's some bull rush guys. This is the versatility. He's over here at left tackle, the big fella right here, and then watch him handle the speed rush by the defender and protect his quarterback's back. So you see he has the leverage on him now. The quarterback has a clean pocket, and watch how he finishes him off.
Oh, you love that.
Let me just lay on you a little bit, let you know that I'm dominating you and you're not getting to my quarterback.
Well, first of all, it seems like if he were to play left guard, we haven't seen a left guard clip, but you see the versatility at right guard, then left tackle. Let's say he plays left guard with the Jets. Mekhi Becton and Elijah Vera Tucker finishing people. I mean, that's a pretty good young core.
Yeah, it's a great young core. I mean, two guys who are solid. They play nasty. They play football the right way, and it's going to be exciting to see them see the team run behind them. But one more play. I'm going to show you how he handles the bull rush. He's up top now, playing left tackle again. Let me spotlight him for you. Up here playing left tackle, and as you know, there's a lot of defenders that can come straight power. And he anchors so well against the bull rush and does a great job of keeping his techniques. You'll see he gets his hands inside on the defender, controlling him, anchors his hips down low, and now his quarterback has a clean pocket to deliver the ball down the field. This guy does it all. Run block, pass block, and he can go out on the screen. Versatile player, nasty mean streak, and is going to be a great addition to this offensive line.
This is the new young core for the Jets offensive line with Mekhi Becton and Elijah Vera Tucker on board. Not only did the Jets double down on offense, they tripled down at the top of the second round. Joe Douglas takes Elijah Moore, the wide receiver out of Ole Miss. And for more on him, let's hear from Brian Baldinger for another Baldy's Breakdown presented by Sharp.
The Jets spent their 34th pick, the second pick of the second round, on Elijah Moore from Ole Miss. He sees that blitz coming off the edge. He gets a hot route right here, but here's what he can do. After the catch, he can make people miss. I mean, here he is in the slot. He's a slot receiver. He's a little over 5'9". He's out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida. He had a monster season for the Ole Miss Rebels. Again, a blitz off the edge, one-handed catch in the middle of the field, and then after the catch, this guy is a stick of TNT. All right? Now, against Alabama, he was dynamic. Here he is in the slot at the bottom. This guy, through 8 games before he opted out, led the SEC with 86 catches and 8 touchdowns. And he's the king of double moves. Like, he has the ability just to sell a route like he does right here. Sell that slant route and then take it off. Alabama couldn't cover him all day long. I mean, and then he's tough. He can take a hit. Like I said, when you watch him up at the top, watch his sluggo move. Put him on the outside, let a corner go get nosy and bite, he'll just run right by you. He can track a deep ball. Again, up at the top right here. I mean, here's going to be another double move. He runs them over and over again. But this is a dynamic playmaker. That's where he belongs. In the slot, he can do a lot of different things right from that position. He can get behind defenses. And when he does, he's got the speed to finish. He ran in the 4.3s at his pro day. Like I said, a stick of TNT.
The 2021 New York Jets 10-player draft class. Zach Wilson started it Thursday night. Jonathan Marshall ended it late Saturday afternoon. In between, you have 10 players in all, 4 offensive players. The final 6 coming off the board are defensive players, of course. So the Jets and Joe Douglas doing work this weekend. They're working the phones right now, probably on Microsoft Teams, you know that, trying to get the best of the undrafted players in here. Rookie minicamp starts next weekend at One Jets Drive. Okay, so let's bring in everybody. Ethan Greenberg joins us. Nice job with Eric. You guys were better dressed for the film review, but we accept you and welcome you back. We'll start with you, Ethan, since you're joining us. Your overall impressions of this draft class?
Well, I think it's pretty funny the way it panned out with the 4 offensive players in a row and then 6 defensive players in a row. But I think a couple guys really stand out to me. You guys were talking about Michael Carter. The way Joe Douglas was talking about how they viewed Michael Carter, I mean, if you almost, the way I thought about it, if they didn't trade out of the 3rd round, seemed like he was a viable option at 66 or 86. They get him at 107. Hamza Nasruddin and Sherwood interesting players. I mean, they got length, they got speed, and Hamza, what stood out to me, he injures his knee the season finale of 2019 after leading the Seminoles with 101 tackles, and then he misses the first X amount of games. Most players opted out of 2020. He opted back in to play the 2 final games. And actually, I spoke to him after he was drafted, and I said, so what's your plan today, right? Like, how are you going to celebrate? He said, I've been sitting inside all day. I'm going to go work out a little bit. And you know that he loves ball. You heard Joe talk about it. You heard Coach Saleh talk about it. And I think that the Jets really did get better on both sides of the ball. And, you know, Anthony, I'm curious if the way you viewed the defensive side in particular, and we'll get your final thoughts. It seems like the Jets just loaded up on athletes in terms of the cornerback position.
Aggressive athletes, right? Guys that, you know, when you say athletes, you think about guys that can cover, guys that can run fast, got great verts, but these guys are playmakers, right? They're tacklers. They're guys that are around the football at their particular schools, in their conferences. They were playmakers, and I'll say, like I said earlier, they feel like the guys that they picked were much higher on their board than they fell in the actual draft. So they feel like they got a bunch of guys early in this draft that, you know, if the last rounds didn't happen, that's the kind of quality of player that they got. And Eric talked about it, you know, undrafted free agents. Can you find a couple gems there, man? You never know who's out there. I mean, we see it every year. Someone rises up, we start talking about him, and all of a sudden he's showing up on film throughout the mini camps and through the off-season training camp, and you get a couple preseason games, and you're like, you know what, we got a gem here. We got a guy that can start on our roster. So, and then there's more free agents as you get closer to the season as well. So this team isn't complete. I love where the Jets went with their picks. All these guys, I think, have a really unique chance to compete and be big contributors. That's far-fetched to say sometimes when you're talking about all the draft picks. I really do think a lot of these players, even the guys today and of course yesterday, have an opportunity to compete and go for a starting job.
Okay, let's not bury the lead, though. This draft started with Zach Wilson.
Absolutely. I mean, listen, the Jets got their man. They wanted Zach Wilson from the start. He's a franchise quarterback, very agile, athletic, can make every throw on the book. He can get outside the pocket. He's a great leader. So, listen, this is going to be exciting for this organization. I know the city of New York is happy to have Zach Wilson running the show. And it was a great start for the draft, and it was exciting all the way through.
Anthony, you're the great film breakdown of Zach Wilson. The more you watch him, the more you like. That's where I'm at. You know, everybody talked about the competition at BYU, but you only play who you play. And again, Mac Jones was playing with a bunch of first-round picks all over the place. Well, Zach Wilson wasn't, and he dominated his competition, and he's got a unique physical skill set. And the thing that I like about everything right now with the young quarterback is Joe Douglas got Zach Wilson a lot of weapons around him, and he's protecting him up front as well. So I think the Jets are off to a good start right now.
Yeah, listen, I mean, this kid's a playmaker. You know, he's got a mind and a risk tolerance to go out there and make plays. He's trying to make big plays on offense every single play. You know, the speed of the game will be a little different in the league, and he'll adapt to that. But again, it's nice to have pieces there. And I think the whole goal is now get everybody through training camp so that when game one comes, we got it all out there, man. If it's all out there, it should be a lot of excitement and buzz for this football team this season. The kid's extremely accurate on the move, like obscenely accurate on the move, like, you know, just outside, inside, thrown across his body. It's just a low probability throw for quarterbacks, and he does it really well. And ball placement is really, really nice on film as well. Listen, I'm excited for the kid. He's determined. He wants to work. You know, he's going to be driven to be great. And this is a new era around here. Just, you know, head coach, the energy, everything that's going on. There's just a real positive vibe in this building right now with the draft, and of course when the players come in. So I'm excited to see how this thing plays out.
Totally agree with all that. Now let's hear from all of the Jets' 10 draft picks right now.
You know, I've worked my whole life for this situation, so I was so excited getting that phone call. It was amazing. You know, I love all those guys in that room. So from my situation, you know, coming from the bottom, I always felt like I had something to prove as a player. I always felt like I had doubters and people that didn't have belief in me, and so, but it's just one more step to get there.
You know, the game does start in the trenches, so that's why they came and get me. You know, I'm a guy who really likes to compete in there and gets the job done. You know, I'm a real physical player. I finish players in the dirt. That's what I do. A high IQ too.
You know, this is the moment that a lot of kids and myself has planned for, and I'm just grateful and I'm ready. Man, having Zach Wilson, he got a great arm. And I'm ready to score a lot of touchdowns. That's all I can say.
When I was young to right now, I mean, every time I get the ball, I'm trying to score. Or I'm trying to, stay in front of the chains and just trying to make an explosive play every time I get it.
I got a call from Madison, New Jersey, and, everybody was talking around me. I tried to just answer it quietly. The tears just started coming. The excitement just shot through my body.
And definitely just when the ball's in the air, I think it's mine. And I believe I have more of a right to that ball than the receiver does, so I'm going to get it.
I'm a witty player. I'm a long. You're going to get length. I enjoy playing football. It's something my brother always tells me is, if you ain't having fun with it, be done with it. So I love it.
I'm grateful for where I am right now. That's really all it is. I'm grateful to be where I am right now, and with the situation, opportunity that I'm given, I'm gonna work. And I'm just gonna show them what type of person I am, what type of football player I am.
Like I said, it's pretty competitive. I'm ready to compete with the best of the best every day. I'm ready to win some games.
Have you ever been up to the New York area before?
No, sir. I'm a country boy, straight from Shepherd, Texas. Yes, sir.
It's always fun hearing from the draft picks on a momentous day in their lives. I mean, you both had an opportunity to get drafted. Myself and Ethan, we only have our dreams, okay? But isn't it a great feeling for you to watch some of these guys be able to celebrate it? And then, Eric, the work is at hand. Because after today, you can celebrate with your family and your friends, and you can party it up. But you got to come here to rookie minicamp, and you got to start proving it yourself because the competition is on.
Yeah, I mean, when you watch these guys, their reactions after they get drafted, I take myself back to my day when how emotional it was. But that emotion goes for about 24 hours, and then it's time to put in the work. You get inside the facility, you start learning the playbooks, you get your body prepared, and it's time to grind. So the future's bright for these guys. I'm excited, happy for them to be a part of this Jets family, and I look forward to them thriving.
Anthony, what does Zach Wilson have in store for him once he gets out there on the practice field and the media masses come and point those cameras to him?
I mean, listen, it hits you in the face pretty hard. You can talk about it, people can explain it to you, but until you're actually doing it and it's there and it's happening, and the ups and downs of the games and the practices, all the eyeballs are on you. And that's a tough deal for a lot of players. So he'll have to come in, and we'll find out real quick. They're going to be lined up in Florham Park real early when he arrives, and they're going to stay real late. So it's a part of being a player in New York. That's what it takes. You wouldn't say that about 70% of the other teams in the league because they just don't have the gravity of that. But if you can handle it, and you can come in here and you can put those blinders on, play ball when it needs to be played, and then handle that part of it, man, it's set up for success for you. So I'm looking forward to seeing him come out here and lead this football team. He's going to dig into that playbook. He's going to be prepared. And, this is a new era, like I talked about, and I'm excited to see what it looks like.
Ethan, can you talk about the vibe here? Anthony keeps on referring to it as a new era, and it definitely is. Joe Douglas just finished his second draft as GM in the New York Jets. Robert Saleh hasn't coached a game yet, but after free agency, and now you see this 10-person class, what are the vibes you are getting, not only talking to the new Jets, but you've talked to Douglas and Saleh as well?
Well, I think with the players, I think a lot of what Joe and Coach have said about bringing guys in that have high football character and just high character in general, I think every single player, free agency and in the draft, I think they all fit that bill. And you hear about Coach Saleh talking about adding speed. Well, all right, let's start with Elijah Moore at 34, 4.3 speed. Brandon Eccles, 4.3 speed. You guys talked about all the athletes on defense. Elijah Vera Tucker, a very good athlete, although, he probably doesn't run a 4.3. Zach Wilson, you're hoping doesn't need to run a 4.3. But I think what the Jets did and have done throughout the course of the offseason is they've gotten better at pretty much every position, and I think that the vibe is good. And you know, hearing Coach Saleh talk, I mean, on a personal note, I want to run through a wall, right? And I mean, this is through a press conference. I can't even imagine what it's going to be like when he speaks openly in front of players. I mean, I'd be hard pressed to find a player that has a bad thing to say about Coach. And I think that step one might have been free agency. Step two is the draft. Anthony said it. The roster's not finished yet, and step three is to come. And I think that Jets fans should be excited about the direction of this team.
All gas, no break for the New York Jets. The 2021 NFL Draft comes to a close. The Jets, 10 picks in all. They're working Microsoft Teams right now. They're going to get some undrafted guys in here as well. The class, of course, headlined by Zach Wilson out of BYU. For Eric Coleman, Anthony Becht, and Ethan Greenberg, I'm Eric Allen.